Hello, welcome back to this channel. Today, we are talking about
Car finance.
yes.
If you guys thinking, or if you guys have a car finance at the moment, you probably feel a bit the pinch every week.
Maybe you don't.
Maybe you don't.
Yeah, that's why
But
they're doing car finance.
yeah, so we're talking about. I guess you don't really feel the pinch, in terms of the
Doing
payment.
payment, yes, because
It-
it's small amount.
It's a small amount of money,
Yeah.
but I'm sure like if you buy a car as well as that, you're still making a payment on it.
Mm.
And let's say circumstances change in your life. That happened to me once.
Yeah.
Circumstances change. I've still got the car and I want to get rid of it because the repayment is kind of high.
You cannot
So-
afford it.
Yeah, and say you can't afford it. What is the best option to get rid of it?
And also, if you sell the car, you're losing money. You have to pay that balloon thingy.
Yeah, whatever the
The
outstanding
payment,
is.
yeah.
So we give you guys an example. This has actually happened to me personally. So I bought a car at roughly about $20,000, and for
And you bought it
whatever
in
reason,
finance.
and I bought it in finance. I was trading in my old car for the deposit. At the end of the day, I'm still have to required to have $20,000 as a finance. So as a whole, that's what happened to me. And then 12 months later, for whatever reason, I wasn't able to support this car anymore. So two things come in mind. Either you keep it, but you're struggling making the payments, or you got to get rid of it.
And you make a loss.
Correct. So if you're keeping it, you're probably not going to be able to sleep at night quite well because you still got not only your rent, food, then you also have these car repayments to do. And if your income doesn't support all of them, you're in trouble,
Yeah.
which I was. So there's that option, just keeping it. Or the other option, like just, bite the bullet. You're going to lose money on it. But what's the best way? So I'm working it out. This is based on my personal experience. So bought the car at roughly about $20,000. At that time, at a purchase, it was for a business reason, and roughly at about 5 years is the repayment.
Yeah.
Give or take, roughly about 6%.
Yep.
Okay. So we just did the math on that. $20,000 over 5 years at 6%. You're looking at about $7,000 worth of interest.
Only in 5 years.
Just the interest.
In 5 years.
In 5 years' time. So I ended up selling the car roughly about $15,000 or so. But because there's still finance on that, I need to have a quick cash to pay off the
final
the
payment.
final the finance company, the car finance company. So the quickest, easiest way at that particular time, I actually personally use a credit card. Not a good idea, but
I was against it when we were talking this topic. I was like, are you nuts? No, why would you pay 20% interest on credit card instead of 6% on the car? But once we did the number, okay, it makes sense.
it's because, well, the repayment based on $20,000, yes, it's 6%, but it's based on a bigger capital.
Yep.
At
Just
20,000.
let's say simple interest, 20,000 of 6% is 1,200 a year.
On
1,200 on interest
On
only.
interest only.
Yeah, simple interest calculation.
yeah,
Yeah, but let's say you've sold it.
I
at
sold
15,
it at 15,000.
You need the 5,000 and
Uh,
you didn't have the cash.
Correct. This is at worst case scenario, which I did. I didn't have the cash. I can't borrow any from anyone. I feel embarrassed borrowing from anyone, so I use a credit card instead. And that credit card was with a hefty fine of 20%
Yep.
per annum, which is on an average credit card these days
Yes, in Australia.
in Australia anyway. So as a whole, I ended up costing roughly about $1,000 of extra interest instead of $7,000.
Only if you can pay it off within 1 year.
Yeah. So in that condition, so I work really hard for it. I work, I think it was like 6.5 days or something. But in order for me to just pay off all of that loan within the less than 12 months or so.
And I think when you see your interest is that high, you have the eager or motivation to pay it off as soon as you can. But when you see, okay, $20,000,
Weekly
spread
repayment.
it out in 5 years. It's only like maybe $200. I can pay it off or something like that. But when you think of $5,000, and then
I mean, 24, yeah, divided by 52, you're looking at only like $100 a week.
Is a big number. It's big difference. You're thinking of $100 a week, or I have to pay $5,000 in 20%, $1,000 on interest.
So $115 a week.
For what?
For in 1 year.
Okay.
So if I were to pay the $5,000 on a credit card, it's costing me a little bit more, 115. Okay, so start again actually. So if it's at $20,000 with the 6%, you ended up paying $27,000 as a whole.
In 5 years.
Divide that by 5 years, divide that by 52. You're looking at about $103 per week, 105 let's say. Versus the credit card company as a whole is $6,000.
If you can pay off in a year.
Within a year, 52.
Yep.
You're looking at 115. So it's an extra $10 on top.
$10.
But I'm complete within 12 months, not 5 years.
Yeah. Well, but the other thing is you don't have a car.
Yeah, I don't have a car.
Well, people, the normally the against is I don't have the car. If
Yeah.
I pay $110, $105, I got a car. But then you gotta pay insurance, you gotta pay maintenance and rego and all this
admin.
stuff. Yes.
Yeah. So for me, yes, I didn't have a car. I had to catch a public transport for 12 months or more actually, because as soon as I paid off that car loan, I still need to save up a little bit more to buy another small, I guess, get around car.
Yeah, you can get
So-
it for what?
In fact, the frog.
5 grand. You bought it for what? 3
$3
grand?
grand.
3 grand?
So when I first met Simone, it was literally that.
Yeah, he was driving that car.
It was a frog. I call it a frog because it was green Ford. I don't know what year model it was. It didn't have an aircon, but it get me by.
And I went out with him without aircon.
And it get me by between A to B. It get me back to work, and that's it. And it was a temporary car in a sense until I get on my feet again. And that was the purpose. I wasn't doing it to try to impress girls.
You don't need that. You just from point A to point B, and a lot of us, our friends, they have nice car. How often do they drive? Always keep it in the garage.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't see the need of nice car if you're being stressed out. If you're stressed, why are you getting stressed out? Just trying to show off people you can afford it, but deep down you cannot afford it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense trying to keep up with the Joneses in a sense. For myself anyway, I realized that back then my business wasn't working, and I need to go back to working in a job, and an extra $100 per week for an extra 5 years. I don't think that's worth it because my job was paying me a lot lower, and I can suck it up just for that 1 year.
At least in 5 years, you get the nice car. Right, but then if you use this method, 1 year you get out of the nice car, and then second year you use that another 5 grand to save it up to get another car.
And
so you got 3 years extra to be stressless in terms for the car, right?
Yeah. So, and as a whole, from then on, I'll never buy a car on finance ever again. And I never have actually since then. I mean, I trade that frog to a Hyundai, and I trade that Hyundai to another Hyundai.
Yeah, we didn't.
And
we
then,
just use our cash.
Yeah, and then the family car that was bought in cash as well. Yeah. And yeah, life is a lot more simpler, a lot more easier if you don't have any payments.
Yeah, and yes, sometimes we can get a nice car, but do we really need it? Is it really worth it? Is it really worth dumping all the cash just to impress others?
Because at one stage we're thinking of buying a Tesla, and then we can afford to buy a Tesla in cash,
but then we don't have any surplus.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's
What's
that
the
side
point
of it, and like, is it really worth it? No. And it's $100,000 as well. So figured, you know what? Why don't I just rent one?
Yeah. We haven't done it.
We haven't done it even. So we just rent one just for that novelty each feeling. I mean, you don't have to buy that debt in a sense, that consumer product. Why don't you just rent it just for 1 week or 2 and then see how you feel? If you still like paying that big amount of lump sum, then good on you. But for me, no, life is much simpler without paying any other payments.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so far we only got the credit card as in just for our groceries.
Yes.
If that, and the rest of them it's on prepaid or
Well,
debit.
even credit card, we just pay it off every
Every
month.
month, yeah.
When the bill comes.
So-
Never pay any interest.
So if you guys want to get out of that rat race or that financial burden with car payments, do that. Do what I did. Literally sell it at a loss, but you know, understand that it is only a temporary measure.
Yeah.
Um,
But $20,000 is pretty cheap car, because nowadays
Yeah.
people buying cars, I think at least 40 or 50,000. Well, because we drive or walk or ride past the car dealership all the time, they always advertise $200 something per week. Let's say $200 a week, based on the calculation, which is double of it.
double. Yeah. So it's
Which-
$40,000 car.
Yes, if you sell it, maybe
so that
if
means
it's still
maybe
new.
$10,000.
No, you may still only $5,000 out. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe out,
Depends on
like-
how new or how often
Yeah.
you drive it.
This is just based on my numbers anyway. So each car is a bit different, like depending how many mileage you actually go through,
Yeah.
what year model, what type of car. My one is only a small work van. You know, family car like a big SUV might be a bit different. And your gap between the selling value as well as, I guess, the gap on car finance, it will be different, very between car to car.
Yeah.
So,
But
that's-
our number is quite conservative.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, life without payments, much better.
Simpler. Yeah. Hope it helps.
See you guys in the next video.
See you. Bye bye.